private investigators come in contact with a lot of information and intelligence, and information trade is common practice within this industry. The objective of this bill includes fraud prevention, detection, assessment, and resolution, corporate fraud and risk management services, insurance fraud and claims investigation, aviation accident and loss investigation, marine loss investigation, occupational health and safety incident investigation, witness location, and bail bond defaulters, etc. Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, the Private Investigators Bill essentially seeks to professionalize the industry and has no financial implication. It establishes conditions for qualification and also regulates the practice of private investigation. The bill will ultimately protect the public from abuse or arbitrariness in service provision by private investigators.
This bill is apt and germane, especially against the backdrop of the avalanche of private investigators that we find across the nooks and crannies of the country. And they are performing very vital function in complementing the effort of our security forces and intelligence personnel towards nipping in the bud criminality and criminal activities. So it is good that such an important sector should not be allowed to go unregulated, because it portends very serious and potent danger if left unregulated, because it is going to be subject to abuse and even encroachment upon the fundamental human rights of citizenry.
I think that for this Senate to enact a law that will give a Nigerian to apply for a license and to be so licensed such that he can carry out investigation on anyone. I saw here to prevent fraud prevention. That is what EFCC and the police are about. Corporate fraud, any manner of fraud, whether corporate or individual. I think that it would be risky to license anyone to have the right to approach any one of us and ask certain questions because the law has empowered him so to do. It will just be a license for extortion, a license for blackmail, an unnecessary rivalry, and it will not be controllable. I think that if there was to be need, and I need to be persuaded that that need exists, to have private investigation, which is currently vested in about 3 institutions: the police, SIB within the police, DSS, and of course EFCC. All of these are charged explicitly.
Including ICPC.
Including?
ICPC.
Including ICPC. All of these are put in place. Thank you, Mr. President, for your very helpful comment. All of this exists for the one purpose: to investigate and, where convinced, to prosecute. For us to go beyond these institutions established by law with clear mandate as to what they can do and what they cannot do, and with clear provisions as to how they go about their business. For us to create an open-ended field where any Nigerian, the bill doesn't even seek to say you have to be a lawyer or a senior advocate or have specific qualifications. But even if you were to say so, I believe that it will just amount to giving so few people the power to intrude into your privacy, the power to be used by political opponents to victimize perceived targets. I do not think that even the mover of this motion has reflected deeply enough about possible abuse. We have a duty in a democracy to protect the privacy of any Nigerian, whether small or powerful, to give tools to any Nigerian to be able to intrude into somebody's privacy and ask questions which ordinarily he has no right to do. Mr. President, I am extremely reluctant, and I urge my colleague, if we cannot shut down this bill at the second reading, and my position is that it should be shut down.
The need for private investigators is to serve the purpose of bridging the gap where agencies enumerated now by distinguished Senator Oshiomhole fail to do their work diligently. The country will have opportunity to have independent investigators, because there are so many cases we know that have arisen, but they have been swept under the carpet by these agencies he expressed they're mandated to carry out these investigations. Mr. President, there are so many issues of murder that have been reported to the police, and the police has not been able to do any diligent work to investigate them, particularly when they go into it and see very highly connected people around it. They sweep it under the carpet. Nigeria cannot afford to proceed this way. From this bill, you can see that civilized nations of the world have private investigators. Licensing them to be private investigators, a lot of unresolved crimes and matters will be dealt with. Nobody will be able to cover anything anymore. Licensing of these people should be able to regulate the conduct of people so licensed. It's not for witch hunting or somebody going to investigate anybody at his whims and caprices. The court can make use of the evidence produced by a private investigator, particularly when the authorities that are vested with these powers are not able to assist the court with diligent investigation reports.
I tend to disagree with most of the speakers. For these reasons, Mr. President, on this bill.
Are you in support of the bill or against?
I'm against the bill, Mr. President. I'm against the bill because if you are asking people to go and be licensed, I presently practice private investigation in this country. I investigated a lot of people in this country as a forensic accountant. I cannot go for under another regulatory agency for me to be licensed to practice. I give evidence in court, and lawyers can investigate and give evidence in court. So we don't need to put people to go into another round of requirement to go and be licensed before they practice. This is not a new thing in Nigeria. Most of the institutions, most of the professional bodies do investigate and do report and do even go to court and give forensic evidence in court, Mr. President. So I think it's just a duplication of effort to me personally.
Mr. President, I rise to express my reservations, very serious reservations against this bill that seems to advocate for the establishment of private investigation agencies. Already, our country has enough agencies and bodies that are charged with the duty of investigating all manners of crimes, be they financial, be they civil, be they even political. So, I don't think there is any justification for us to establish or encourage any individual, no matter how professional such individuals may be, to be licensed to investigate. Our country is still a developing economy, a nascent democracy, and I think we are still growing, and we need to grow more before we create certain institutions or make laws that will affect the smooth running of our democracy. I want to associate myself completely with the position advanced by Senator Adams Oshiomhole that this is a recipe for interpersonal fights. You know that our country has certain fault lines, religious, ethnic, and all of that. So empowering individuals with a license to investigate, Mr. President, time will come when your own political enemy will now say, I have a private license to investigate you. So I will advise that we tread carefully in transplanting certain agencies that have existed in more developed countries. Nigeria is still crawling, and we need to strengthen our oversight responsibilities to see to it that the existing investigative bodies do their jobs efficiently instead of duplicating them with additional investigation agencies.
The person must be well trained, the office must be well manned, and it definitely cannot be one individual. So these things are already spread around almost all the agencies of government, including the DSS, the police, the ICPC, EFCC, and others. But most worrisome is what distinguished Senator Zam and distinguished Senator Mustapha Saliu pointed out, that in a country where we have numerous wives, and then any of the wives can approach a private investigator, and they will bring very false evidence against you, and at the end of the day, you end up being scandalized. Social media will take that report as if the report is true. But however, I want to urge a view of the divergent views and the concerns raised by your colleagues. Do you want to reject this and then represent it so that we just step it down? No. Senator.
I will actually advise that we put the question. But, well, let me go back and rework it and also consult more of my colleagues. I will do further consultations and thank you.
So I very magnanimous position. So the Senator Ngwu has applied that he be allowed to step down this bill for further consultation. Those in support of his position say aye. Those against say nay. Only one voice. The ayes have it. The bill is hereby stepped down for further consultations.